Hello everybody and welcome to BBC again. I would like to share some things about in the Buddha's teachings underneath the Vinaya Pitaka. They're called the Six Harmonies, which are the way in which a monastic community lives and practices together that's important as far as just deepening our practice. Well, we'll actually list them: the physical harmony, harmony in our verbal communication, mental harmony, harmony in precepts, harmony in views, and harmony in welfare. And that in the monastic community life, it's really important for the long-term goal of the community that we hold these six harmonies, because if we're not going to take care of each other, if we're not going to be kind to each other, if we're not going to hold our precepts together and sort of go along a common track, then there's no use in being in community whatsoever. So this is kind of a work in progress, because I'm going to try to identify, or at least speak about, what actually harmony is. Because I find that as a Westerner, I think culturally, harmony, cultivating it, is somewhat of a different concept. And I think it's mostly because we have such a culture that very much promotes individuality, that that foremost, no matter whether we participate in a group, or we participate in family life, or we participate in work life, I think the ultimate motivation for us participating is basically self-interest. You know, what are we going to garner as far as our qualities? What are we going to garner as far as getting something out of it? That first and foremost, it's pretty much all about what's in it for me. And that, and so I wanted to question, or I've been starting to explore, now that I live at the Abbey, that the first few years of living here, I had a lot of resistance and even a lot of confusion about what it was like to live in harmony. Because what would happen is, by default, when things got really, really tough here, the self-centered thought, or this individuality, this individual need, would arise to the surface, and I really stopped caring about the overall harmony of the community. That it was pretty much, you know, what was not working for me, and how could I fix it, or how could I get my needs met, or let's do it differently because I'm not happy. So I was trying to think of, you know, there's lots of, and it's not to say that individuality is a bad thing, because I think when push comes to shove, we have to understand that in the final conclusion, we are responsible for the way that we turn out. You know, we really are responsible for how we cultivate our qualities, how we find happiness, how we avert suffering. But to live in harmony, I had this conflict that for me to really fulfill my aspirations as an individual might not get met by living in harmony with a community of other individuals, where in fact, as the years have gone by, living in harmony with this community has in fact helped me grow as an individual. And that what I wanted, and that the cultural tendency, I think, for us in our culture, even if we are in groups, is there a lot about comparison, there a lot about competition, and that living in harmony in communities a lot more about collaboration and a lot more about cooperation. And that soul benefit and community benefit are not mutually exclusive. And so, as I will continue to share on my round of BBC, as we explore the six harmonies, how does this work for an individual in our own spiritual individual growth? How does it work for community to live in harmony, where the individual really plays kind of second fiddle? And in the end, how do both of those things benefit? And how did the Buddha, in his incredible wisdom, put together these harmonies? Because I see for myself that if not only this community that tries very hard to live within the 6 harmonies, but if our families somehow lived in the harmony, if our workplace, if our schools, if the groups that we did mountain climbing and social activism, and if Congress lived in a kind of harmony, and where we thought not only about what's in it for me, but what's in it for the general long-term benefit for everybody, how different would the world be? And how can we apply the 6 harmonies that the Buddha gave for monastics in the Vinaya? How can we apply that somewhat to our own lay lives, our work lives, our family lives, our school lives? And so that's what I'm going to continue to question on how difficult it was for me, how sometimes I still have a lot of resistance because the individual Semke rises to the surface, her self-centered thought, her self-preoccupation on what's in it for me is sometimes a big default mode still after being here for 10 years. But through the continual living in this paradigm, I can see the shifting that is mutually beneficial and not exclusively beneficial. So hopefully I'll be able to sort of, as I progress in my thinking here and share the 6 harmonies, maybe I can offer some insights to myself and maybe some insights to you too.